Welcome to the adventure of Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon. My name is Florence, and this is my mummy, Swailes.
Hi!
And we are going to tell you about our Pixie friend, Lilly Thystle, and her pet dragon, Thorn.
Part 5. As little Lilly Thystle's magical group of creatures carries on growing, Lilly still feels she's going to find some more friends, and so now with added fairy dust she heads off into the forest once again.
Into the forest, where all secrets can be found.
But wait, what is this?
Elf's house, and the elf doesn't look very happy, working in his house very, very slowly. And elves aren't usually slow because of Christmas.
That's a really good point, Flossie.
So they went and knocked at the door and they said, "Are you okay? You seem a little glum." The elf said, "Well, I suppose you are right. I am. I'm very sad because Santa has fallen ill." They all had a huge gasp. "What? Santa? Sick?" "Yes," said the elf.
Oh, that's bad news.
"What's your name?" The elf said. "My name is Sir Candy Cane the First of Sugar Plum Valley, but you can call me Tim for short." So they went into Tim's little working place that was very big on the inside. Had lots of toys that were half finished. They said, "Do you have any other elves living with you?" And he said, "This isn't where I live." "Oh, no, we live where Santa lives. It's in the North Pole. We're nowhere near here. We just find it better to get him to come over here and pick up the presents. Otherwise we would have to bring them to the North Pole, but we don't have any transport to do it. So we'd have to walk there, and trust me, that wouldn't be very good. To just walk would take forever."
That's a very good point.
So they went and they said, "What disease has Santa got?" And he said, "To be honest, I don't know. He's sick and his skin went all purple." "Purple?" said Lilly. "Oh, goodness me, this must be very, very bad. Is he coughing? Is he sneezing?" "Coughing and sneezing a lot. And we don't think he is going to get better anytime soon."
Oh my word, that is bad news. That's a big deal. This is Santa Claus we're talking about.
"But it's not near Christmas, so that doesn't really matter. But when it is Christmas time, what are we going to do? Please, can you help us see Santa and make him better?"
Obviously, Lilly Thystle wanted to help.
They said, "Yes, we can, but you've got to answer me a question if we do."
Tim looked interested.
He said, "Okay, answering a question is easy, but it might have not been because it was a very hard question." So they went to where Santa and all the other elves lived and saw Santa was very, very dark purple skin. He didn't look as if he was going to be able to move just one finger. Laid in the bed, Tim said, "Santa, are you okay?" No answer. "I think he might have fallen asleep," said Tim. "Well, at least he's getting his rest." So they went into the place where Santa's sleigh was. "I don't know why we're here," said Tim. "I don't want to bear look at Santa like he is because he's very, very ill." So they went down to the sleigh and they looked at the sleigh. They said, "What do we do now? I'm kind of bored just looking at the sleigh."
Then Tim thought, I know a little bit about pixies and I'm pretty sure they have medicines and information to cure and heal other magical beings. Tim was just so sure that he'd read this recently in a book about magical creatures, and Santa is most definitely one of the biggest magical creatures on this earth. And so he looked at Lilly Thystle and all her friends and asked,
"Do you have a medicine book?"
But before Lilly could even answer, Tim started to work things out on his own.
"Oh, I know. Actually, maybe I shouldn't." "Maybe you shouldn't what?" said Lilly. Tim said, "Well, one of the kids for Christmas asked for a medicine book because they want to be a doctor when they grow up. But I've already wrapped the present and put it in the sleigh." "In the sleigh? What wrapping does it have?"
Tim had to think.
"Orange with purple spots." And they found it. It's on the top. And they unwrapped it. And they unwrapped the box. And in it was the book of medicine. So they looked at it, and there it was, a picture of purple-skinned human.
What good luck that was to find it in the book.
So all we need is some cheese. Cheese? Oh, no, sorry, that's for orange skin. "Can you not see properly?" said Lilly. "Excuse me, how rude. I can see perfectly well." "Okay," said Lilly. So they went to the page that said purple skin disease. And purple skin disease, you need some mermaid scales and lion sneeze and some cheese. I guess there was cheese.
Lilly found all this a little bit amusing, though she tried not to show it.
So they said, "Where in the world do we get those things from?" "First, we're going to have to go to the zoo to get lion sneeze." So they went to get some lion sneeze. "But how do we make the lion sneeze?" said the elf. "Let's use a feather." "Where do we get a feather?" "I thought you had one. You were an elf. You have everything." "Right?" "No, I don't have everything. Who told you that?"
Lilly looked a bit embarrassed, as she'd been misinformed, just like Bogle Bridge had earlier on in this story.
"Then we'll have to find a feather from a bird on the floor somewhere." So they found one, but it's very dirty. "What if we get some dirt mixed in with the snot and lion sneeze?" "I don't think it will matter." "Yes, it will. What if it turned into some kind of different thing?" "I suppose there is that." "Okay, let's clean it." "Clean it? But then it won't work. All the little furry parts will come off." "Yeah, there is that. Let's find a different feather then." So they found a different feather, and it was a clean, nothing on it. So they went up to the lion, and they went tick-a-tick-a-tick-a-tick with the feather. And he went, achoo! And into the back went the lion sneeze. That's ticked off the chart then.
Okay, what's the next ingredient?
"We need to get some mermaid scales." "How do we get mermaid scales? I thought mermaids were extinct." "No, they're not. We have tons of mermaids living around where we live," said Tim. Tim doesn't know where pond they're in. He just heard one day that there were lots of mermaids there. So he might have just accidentally lied. So they went back to the elves' working place. They looked around and said, "There's no ponds around here. Are you actually telling the truth?" Tim was shocked. He didn't know whether to say yes or no. And he might still be telling a lie, even if he said, "No, there isn't any there." Because there might have been. So they looked for it anyways, and Tim said, "I don't really want to answer that question." Lilly was very puzzled, but she said, "Okay." And they went off to see a pond where mermaids might live.
As it happened, they were in luck.
They saw a mermaid, and they went up to it and said,
"Excuse me, dear mermaid, please may we have a couple of your beautiful scales?"
"Why? They're my scales." "Oh no," said Tim.
That wasn't the response that they were hoping for.
"Don't think this mermaid is very nice. Maybe we should leave." "Oh, no you don't," said Lilly, and pulling him back. "Come on, we've got to ask Please, can we have some scales? They asked again. Why?
Said the mermaid, looking unfazed by the two strange creatures speaking to her from the land.
Because we're trying to make Santa feel better. He's sick.
Sick? Said the mermaid. She was shocked. The mermaid immediately gave them 2 or 3 scales.
So you're putting the scales into a potion to make Santa better?
Asked the mermaid.
Yes. Don't put too many in, otherwise you'll be dealing with orange disease. But it's purple disease. You only need 4 when it's purple disease, but you put in 8 when it's orange disease. Oh, okay.
Glad we've cleared that up.
They quickly wrote that down on a piece of paper because they didn't want to forget. And they went away and said, "Thank you for the scales." Welcome to the adventure of Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon. My name is Florence, and this is my mummy, Swailes.
Hi.
And we are going to tell you about our Pixie friend, Lilly Thystle, and her pet dragon, Thorn.
Part 6. A lot has happened to Lilly Thystle and her band of magical friends. Right now they are saving Santa Claus via the scales of a mermaid, the sneeze of a lion, and last but not least, the humble slice of cheese.
They went back and they said, "Are there even cheese exist? Do they exist?" Everybody said they didn't know if a cheese shop was a thing, but they might as well see. So they walked around the village and there it was, a cheese shop. But actually it said cheese pie shop. So they went in and it said, "Can we have some cheese, please?" And they said, "What coloured pie cheese you want?" "Pie cheese? What are you talking about? This isn't pie cheese. We want just normal cheese, not pie cheese." "Then you've come to the wrong place. This is the cheese pie shop. Cheese pies?" And they quickly all ran away.
Tim was very puzzled, and actually so was Lilly Thystle too.
Because he thought they were going to buy a cheese pie. And they went somewhere else, where there was a cheese shop, a real one this time. And the man was in cheese shop was just constantly looking at his phone. Like, "Seriously, man, please, can we just buy this cheese?" And he didn't even hear them because he had headphones in.
Oh, how rude.
And he was just listening to his phone playing video game.
But time was of the essence.
They thought, well, I guess we're not going to be able to fix Santa anyways because this cheesy man is just going to keep looking at his phone.
But then something funny happened.
The elf went behind him and quickly took out the headphones. And then he said, "I can't hear it. What's going on?" And he saw the elf and everybody there. He was very angry.
And a little embarrassed.
He chased Tim the elf all the way around the town. He was exhausted, but they quickly snuck away with the cheese and left the money behind on the table. And they went back to Santa and said, "We've got the perfect things to make you better." Santa was very pleased but couldn't smile because he was so weak. They mixed up the potion and they gave it to him. Then all of a sudden, Santa got out of his bed in a very strange way. He did a backflip off his bed and onto the ground.
It was very obvious that the recipe had worked. Yay!
And then he started flying up and down and then sideways. And they were like, is the potion supposed to do this? And he flew away. And then they got very worried because what if Santa flew away and he forgot he was Santa?
It would be a problem.
So they chased after Santa and tried to get him. And then the elf used one of the toys lassos to lasso Santa and pull him back down onto the ground. And then he said, "Santa, can you hear me?" No answer, even though Santa could hear him. He was just so deep in his mind. All of a sudden he jumped up and karate chopped the door open and got back into his bed and said, I'm sick. Where's the potion?" He's like, "We've already given it to you."
Wait a second. Is Santa better now, or is he still sick?
I think he just didn't want to do his job anymore, so he pretended to be sick, even though he wasn't. And then eventually he admitted that he was better.
Ah, that is good news. I'm glad to hear it. What a massive quest Lilly Thystle had just been on. And then she remembered her original quest, which was to invite other magical creatures to live with her in her huge castle with the little fairies and with Hendrix and also her lovely little dragon, Thorn. She said
to the elf, "Do you want to come and live at our castle?" He said, "I would if I could, but I have to stay here." And everybody was very upset to see Tim go. Tim the elf, also known as Sir Candy Cane the first of Sugar Plum Valley. He was very upset to see them go, but he did wave them goodbye. But then Santa said, "You can go," when they were leaving. Then he rushed out the door and said, it's fine, Santa said I could come with you." And then they all gave each other a massive hug. But then they didn't notice that Bogle Bridge was following them the whole time. Welcome to the adventure of Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon. My name is Florence, and this is my mummy, Swailes.
Hi.
And we are going to tell you about our Pixie friend, Lilly Thystle, and her pet dragon, Thorn.
Part 7. Following the very important quest of saving Santa Claus and gaining another new friend in the form of an elf named Tim, somebody is following them through the woods, an unfortunate character by the name of Bogle Bridge.
He was still following them, hiding. Bogle Bridge had tried to set up another trap, but then he got stuck in it by himself.
Ah, that's karma right there.
When he was setting up the trap, he walked around in circles waiting for them to come, and he only realised that he was behind them then. He forgot. He thought he was in front of them, but he actually ran the opposite way when his house burnt down. So he walked around in circles, but then stood on the trap, and he got himself trapped. And then it took him a while to get out, so he was a bit behind. And then he thought, maybe this time I'll have roast friends instead of roast pixies.
Oh, Bogle Bridge was a very, very mean troll indeed. What's he going to do then, huh?
Bogle Bridge went up behind them and ran up and said, Guys, wait, I made a terrible mistake. I'm really sorry that I didn't realise how such a kind pixie you were. When I saw you run away, I saw what a generous soul you are. I really want to be your friend. So they said, yes.
Lilly Thystle was such a forgiving little pixie who always saw the best in people and magical creatures.
And Lilly said, yes, we've got another friend.
And it's quite hard to believe, but then Bogle Bridge joined the unusual group of friends. I'm not sure about this, you know. I'm going to watch him closely. Anyway, the quest continues, and the unlikely friends followed a path weaving through an enchanted forest with birds tweeting in the sky of rainbow colours and beautiful feathers. There was a waterfall to their left with gorgeous little goldfish in the stream. Lily bent down to look at the fish. They seemed to be smiling at her. It was very cute. She put her 2 bold hands within the crystal clear stream and had a little drink. The water was pure and beautiful and quenched her thirst, which she hadn't noticed until this moment, and upon tasting the water invited her friends to have a little sip too. Then, all of a sudden, something caught the corner of Lily's eye, and she glanced back to her right. She could hear something galloping towards her. Something came flying towards her.
And they bumped into a unicorn. The unicorn said, "Excuse me, what are you doing on this land? This land belongs to the king. And the king does not like people on his land. So please go away." But they said, "Sorry." The unicorn said, "In fact, if you're trying to say sorry, you're under arrest."
What? Oh no.
And they went, "What?" They were all really, really surprised.
But Bogle Bridge wasn't, though, because he knew that they were
a crazy gang of people.
It's almost like he thought it was amusing that they got arrested, like they deserved it for being too nice.
So they went to the king.
Turns out it was indeed a very short walk to the palace of the king. Only 5 minutes, so they were really, really close to the kingdom.
And the unicorn said, "These people went into your land. What shall I do with them? Shall I throw them in prison?"
Oh my word, what did the king say?
He said yes, but they said, "Wait!"
Lilly Thystle and her little dragon didn't miss a trick.
"You okay? You look a bit miserable and lonely. And we're looking for people to live at our castle because we're very, very, very lonely."
This question caught the king off guard. First he was shocked, and then he sat back and had a little think and replied,
"You know what? I am very, very lonely."
The king sighed as he looked at the empty throne next to him, and then at his sergeant unicorn, who was chief of command.
All I've got is this unicorn.
The unicorn stood stiff and looked to attention, stamping his hind hooves in response.
The unicorn was surprised to hear this. It made him feel like he was useless. But then Bogle Bridge said, "Oh no, you're not going to be friends with them."
It was clear that Bogle Bridge knew something that none of the other creatures knew. But then it all became clear as Bogle Bridge shouted with anger,
"You worked for me. I did all of this for you,"
pointing at the king and his unicorn. The unicorn was confused for a hot second.
And then he suddenly remembered about Bogle Bridge. He had forgotten
to tell the grumpy troll
that he didn't need to work there anymore, because all he did was cause mischief and try to hurt people. The king only wanted him to make sure people didn't come into his land, without permission, of course. So Bogle Bridge said, "I will not let you go to their castle, and if you do,"
he said, looking at the king and the unicorn, who started to feel a little bit frightened of this angry troll-like creature,
"I'll catch you in one of my traps." The king was very, very, very frightened to hear this.
He almost fell off his throne with fright.
His heart sank and he really wanted some friends.
But then the king remembered exactly who he was. He is the king of this land.
So he said, "Bogle Bridge, I command you as the king to stop right now," even though he was just ignoring him.
Bogle Bridge is such a shady character.
All the friends thought Bogle Bridge was their friend, but they realised he wasn't. So they tried to attack Bogle Bridge. And they said to the unicorn, "Attack!" And all the unicorn did was stand because it wasn't the king's command.
But then...
And the king said, "Unicorn, attack!" So he did, and he threw Bogle Bridge away into the clouds.
And he went, whee! Everybody watched as Bogle Bridge went flying over the horizon. And then the king turned back to the little group of friends and said,
"You guys are nice. Can I come and live at your castle?" They said yes, but then he realised, "Actually, I'm sorry, but I can't. I need to run this village." The unicorn knew this was the perfect time to ask if he could rule.
To rule this kingdom in the absence of the king.
"Dear king, please can I rule?" He said, "Yes, but don't go too hard on people." He was very sad because he wanted to make everybody be his servants because the king knew what he was planning.
As he was a very bossy unicorn, but got things done.
So he said, "Yes, I will not treat people like babies, okay? And make people my servants." The king said, "Okay," and they went off into the forest to look for more friends.
However, before they left, a celebration would be needed.
They thought it would be a good idea to have a giant feast. So they did, and everybody got very, very full. Welcome to the adventure of Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon. My name is Florence, and this is my mummy, Swailes.
Hi!
And we are going to tell you about our Pixie friend, Lilly Thystle, and her pet dragon, Thorn.
Part 8. After a magnificent feast to celebrate the king's departure to travel to a new kingdom with Lilly Thystle and Thorn the flower dragon, their quest continued, but surely it would come to an end very soon.
In the morning, they woke up and thought maybe we should go and look for another friend. Everybody agreed, so set off into the forest.
One more time. But Lilly had a good feeling about this last leg of their journey, and it wasn't long before they heard a
twig break. "What was that?" said Lilly Thystle. "I don't know. We better go and investigate," said the king. The king pulled up the branches, and there was a weird-looking badger.
It said, "Hello."
It was very, very cute, but very, very strange.
None of them had ever seen a stripy black and white creature such as the one that stood before them right now.
So they went up to the thing and asked it, "What are you?" "I'm a hadger," said the hadger, "and my name is Bill." "Do you know why I'm called a hadger?"
They all had no idea.
"'Cause I'm a hare mixed with a badger." "A hare mixed with a badger?"
What a strange thing to see. I've never seen anything like that before. How very peculiar.
"Okay. Do you want to be our friend?" "Yeah."
Lilly explained.
"We've got this big empty castle. Do you want to come and live in it with us?" "Yeah. Wait, can I bring a few things?"
Lilly was used to people asking this of her after she'd invited them to come and live in her little castle, which was actually quite big.
Yes, and it got a gigantic sack full of things.
It was full of snacks, worms and acorns, a few feathers, a small bicycle wheel, some empty paper packets full of nothing, a couple of crayons, an empty plant pot, a few little crystals, and a boomerang, because the Hadger thought you always had to be prepared on your journeys. You never knew what was going to happen.
But you only said you wanted to take something, said Lily. Well, when I meant some, I meant a lot. Seriously, can I take me into your house? No, you're gonna live at the castle.
The Hadger looked a little bit deflated.
Okay, said Bill the Hadger. Can we go back to the castle now? Okay, sure. But can you carry my things? I can't carry them. Sure, but the bag was so heavy. How do we carry it? It's so heavy, said Lily. Well, if you're strong, you can carry it. Well, I'm not strong.
Oh dear, the conversation over the Hadger's bag was causing a little bit of trouble within the group.
Okay, sighed Lilly Thistle. So they carried it back to the castle,
each taking it in turns, so it was fair and everybody had a break from carrying the Hadger's stuff. The journey seemed very long, and they were about to lose hope when they saw Lilly Thistle's castle on the hill in the distance, and eventually got to the big white pearly gates to start living their life as a little pod of magical creatures within the castle walls.
And when they got there, they said, "What do we do now? You've completed our quest and now it's so boring." Boring, said Lilly Thistle. What, you don't like my castle? Yeah, we do like it, but it's big and empty. Shall we go and look for more friends?
Said the tiny little fairies with their fairy queen buzzing around the heads of the magical creatures. But Lilly Thistle wasn't really convinced.
Maybe we could go pick some berries. Do you want to have another feast? Do you have any food? How much food do you have? Everybody was asking Lilly Thistle so many questions she forgot to answer them all.
Was Lily beginning to feel a little bit overwhelmed?
She just said, "Can I just go up to my room and have a minute?" So she ran upstairs and she thought, how do I answer all of these questions? What if I just stayed in the castle anyways?
Lily began to think of the quest that she'd just been on and started doubting her decisions. Maybe it was too much to invite all these friends over to her home.
But somebody opened the door. It was her mum and dad. They had returned.
Oh, I had forgot about them.
They said, "Have you got lots of guests downstairs?" And she said, "Well, Mum, I actually don't have any guests."
They now actually live here. It was an understatement to say that her parents were shocked and in disbelief.
"Live there? Just barge in the house? What are you talking about? Me and your dad are putting so much furniture in here. There's no room for all of your friends. Have to send them back to their homes."
Oh no, that is bad news.
Lilly Thistle was very, very upset to hear this, but she knew she should have told her parents before she had brought all of the friends into her house. Lilly Thistle got very upset and didn't want to tell them.
That they had to leave the castle immediately.
So her mum went down and told them. She said, "Guys, get out of the house. We're going to put so much furniture in, there's no room for you." Everybody was like, "Are you serious?" Because we just went on a very, very long walk to get to here and we had so much big adventures.
Oh no, how's it going to end?
Welcome to the adventure of Lilly Thistle and her flower dragon. My name is Florence and this is my mummy, Swailes.
Hi.
And we are going to tell you about our Pixie friend, Lilly Thystle, and her pet dragon, Thorn.
Part 9. This is the final part of Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon Thor's quest to get new friends into her lonely castle. So far, she has a lovely little group of friends and they're all living together inside of Lilly's castle. Although boredom has approached, and Lily started worrying she'd made the wrong decision, just as her parents came home and weren't very pleased with Lily's decision to invite a gang of magical creatures into their home to live. How is it going to end?
Lily said to her parents, "You know that little house outside of our castle? Do you want to move some of the stuff in there and live in there? Then you can come in and visit our castle." "Yeah, okay, that's a good idea, but your friends still have to leave." "What? No, that's not fair, Mom," shouted Lilly Thystle. Everybody was a bit surprised because of all of this commotion. They just didn't understand how Lilly Thystle could be screaming.
Especially Hendrix, who got a bit scared of people shouting. It unnerved him, and he was such a calm-natured, kind-hearted soul. He started hiding under the kitchen table with all the crumbs of toast. And they all wondered,
"Did a shark come out of the window or something?" said Tim. They all went upstairs, but the door that Lily, her bedroom, was locked. So they sat down, thinking, "What do we do?" "I don't know," said Tim. "Maybe we should just wait. I think all of this commotion will be over soon." Meanwhile, upstairs, Lilly Thystle will have a very big argument with her mum that she really needed her friend to come with her. She's just so lonely. "Well, you've got us. Are we not good enough for you?" asked her mum. "Yeah, you are, but I just want some friends." All of a sudden, there was a giant crash. "What's happening? The castle's shaking." "I don't know. Let's look out of the window." They looked down out of the window. It was Bogle Bridge. He's back with a giant army and we're being under attack. "What do? We need to get Lilly Thystle now." So they ran out to her room and tried to unlock the lock and knock on her door, but she just ignored them. "Come on, Lily, we're under attack."
"Oh my word, what's going to happen?"
When Lily heard this, she barged out of the door, knocking some of them over. "Sorry guys, what's going on? You said we're under attack?" "Yeah, Bogle Bridge is back." "Back?" said Lilly Thystle. "No! Has he got an army?" "Yes, he has." "What do we do? I think this might be the end, guys." "No, we're not giving up. Come on, let's fight." They all went out and realised how big the army was. Bogle Bridge said, "Hello, friends. How are you doing today?" "Wait, you're not gonna be good, 'cause I'm here." They went to get some weapons and attacked
the opposition, which was Bogle Bridge's army of minions, swooshing with swords made of fairy crystals, and when that golden blade touched the opposition, they would instantly be transported to a beautiful land far, far away from the land that they were attacking. Dazed and confused, that automatically would end the fight which they were currently in. These were very nifty weapons.
Swoosh, swoosh, the swords flying through the air.
Lilly Thystle was so proud of her friends that had helped her win the battle against that terrible Bogle Bridge that just would not give up trying to get them. However, now he was transported into a beautiful fairy city at the other side of the world, where it was hot and sunny and there was dolphins in their waters. It really was a paradise. Lily did secretly hope that he was now happy over there in this new land that she'd given him, and that he'd forgiven her for annoying him and disrupting the kingdom he helped make all them years ago. She figured in the new land where he now lived, he would forgive her and move on.
There was a moment of silence. When her mum went down from this, she saw how fierce they were.
And also she was so thankful that they were there ready to stand up for her kingdom and protect their lands.
"Are you okay?" said her mum. "Yeah, I am okay." "Can they stay? Please, Mum." They helped me survive. Her mum said yes, and she allowed them to stay because they protected Lily from the giant army and Bogle Bridge.
And so it all turned out all right in the end, as this was very good news for Lilly Thystle and her flower dragon Thorn. A good mix of friends consisting of a hobgoblin, a bunch of fairies with their queen, Santa's little helper, a Pixie, the king, and a hadger. It was a bonkers mix of unusual magical creatures, great and small, but she loved every single one of them with her little pixie heart. And they all lived happily ever after.
Shall I say the end? The end.